you've laid out some, both of you have sort of laid out some just general guidelines for teachers trying to sort of center kids of color in the classroom. And I wonder if there are more that you would say, or if you could talk about, yeah, sort of specific things, guidelines or specific things, stories that you want to offer that might help them think about, spark some inspiration.
I would love to talk a little bit about family engagement because I think just because of the age that I'm around all the time and, as kids get older, it becomes a little less clear how it's always so important to include families in whatever's happening in a school or learning environment. And when they're 5 and 6, it just happens so all the time, right? Because parents are in communication with you about, oh, my kid didn't eat snack today. And can you make sure that, they're drinking water and all of those things. So because of that, I feel like I've had the opportunity over the years to really examine what are the ways we are including families in our learning and how can we do it better? And I think to this topic, how do we do it in a way that also centers people of color in our community? And how can we not only include everyone in what's happening in our classroom and in our school, but really examine the systems that we use. So for example, looking at who's signing up, what is the process that you're asking people to sign up to volunteer or drive on trips or give their input on learning? And are you doing it in a way that's actually, learning together? Like, are you in a collaborative relationship with the caregivers in your community, and especially the caregivers who aren't white? And how do you make it better? So I think a lot, in our over the years, I've looked a lot at family presentations and how we're asking people to come and share about their stories, and that's super important. I think it's a keystone of good practice to have families be able to share who they are. But there's so many other places where we ask families or don't to be involved. So I think how we do that in a way that also centers people of color in the community. And I love what you said earlier, Liz, about how often are white parents of white kids having the conversation with their children about how they can be support and be an ally. And I think one theme that I'm thinking a lot about right now is I think there's this cultural fear, and we see it a lot around don't talk about privilege, don't freak the white child out. So because of that cultural fear, in the research that I've done to write the book, I definitely found a level of silence among white parents of white children. So I think, what we can do now is really help caregivers understand that helping their white child know the story of resistance and the story of movements of people coming together that are always so diverse, but movements that are led by people of color. And how do you take a back seat and be quiet and learn? I mean, even that shift, those kinds of learnings, that's what I'm really interested in right now, is sort of being quieter, helping people of privilege learn how to be a little quieter. And I think that's going to be a big challenge for us. But I think it's important. I think that's a big way to support.
That's really